The Elusive Samurai is not at all what I expected it to be. When I was researching the series and watching the trailers and looking at the promotional material, I got the vibe that this was a boy going on thrilling adventures with his friends where there's going to be fraught danger and people definitely out to kill him, but it's going to be a bright, fun, thrilling adventure series for, teens and older kids, something that would appeal to a wide audience. And my god, was I wrong. No, Elusive Samurai is far, far, far more violent than I thought it was, far more explicitly violent. This is not a series that holds back on the brutality, but to more deeply delve into why that is, let's first discuss what this series is even about. Our main character for this series is Tokiyuki Hojo, a fun-loving 8-year-old who just so happens to be the son of the shogun, the head of the Hojo clan. And while Tokiyuki is destined to take over for him one day as shogun, he will be more of a puppet shogun more than anything else. Just like his father, whose advisors control most everything, and he just has to sit back and do nothing, as shown by the series' depiction of him as basically a drooling vegetable. The first episode starts off showing us how Tokiyuki doesn't really take anything that seriously because he doesn't really have a whole lot to worry about in life. He's fun-loving, carefree, he just wants to run around and play hide and seek constantly, always avoiding and shirking any of his responsibilities or training or anything like that. He just wants to run around and have fun, which makes sense. He's 8 years old and he's exceptional at running around. He is very elusive. One day though, when he goes to run and hide into a tree far away from the castle, he's met by Yorishige Suwa, who knew exactly where he was gonna be somehow. Now Suwa is a very strange Shinto priest who has a glowing aura around him that he says is because of his ability to see the future, approximately, not exactly. That'd be too easy. He's also a loyal vassal of the Hojo clan and promises that one day Tokiyuki will become a great hero, something that Tokiyuki scoffs at because he just thinks that he's cowardly. You see, for samurai culture, it's just cowardly to run. You're not supposed to do that. You stand and you fight, or if you can't fight, you end your own life. That is the expectation that's being set in this time, at least as explained by the show. So even though Tokiyuki disregards whatever Suwa is saying, it turns out that after his meeting, he will need his help because a former vassal of his father, Takeuji Ashikaga, has decided to turn against the Hojo clan and overthrow them instead. I'm not going to get into the details of the politics going on here, the series will explain that well enough for you. But this is based on actual events that occurred in the 1300s of Japan, something that I was never aware about, and from what I've gathered is not one of the more popular eras of Japanese history that gets covered. It's definitely far less covered than things like the Sengoku era of Japanese history. But Takeuji comes in and swiftly destroys everything that Tokiyuki has grown up to know. Now this is the first episode and we don't really have a lot of understanding of the connections between all these characters, the history between them. You don't really feel this betrayal on the fact that, these characters are fighting against each other, but the show wonderfully crafts the feeling of this betrayal, the jarring nature of it from Tokiyuki's perspective. We've had an entire half episode of him running around and spending time with his brother and his betrothed and all the people around the village, and then suddenly everything is hell. Now I'm going to try to avoid a lot of the worst parts of this here because I don't want to get this video demonetized or taken down because this is brutal. This is a Shonen Jump series and I did not expect it would be nearly as brutal as it is. It's absolutely horrifying and you understand the shock that Tokiyuki is in when he sees everything that he's ever known go up in flames. As Tokiyuki tries to settle into the nightmare that is his reality now, Yorishige Suwa appears to him again, telling him that he's been sent by his father, the shogun, to keep him safe and smuggle him out of the area. And Tokiyuki is just not sure that he even wants to live. He's 8 years old and an orphan now. Does he want to really go on with this? And Suwa decides to make it very clear to him if he wants to live or not, by throwing him down a hill towards a bunch of the enemy soldiers and yelling that it's Tokiyuki Hojo, the heir to the shogun, leaving every single soldier in sight trying to capture him as he dodges and weaves through this giant crowd. And it's in this moment, this running, dodging, jumping, and flying around, that he decides that he wants to live. He has decided that he's not just going to survive, he's going to get his revenge, and Yorishige Suwa is going to help. From here, the series maintains a sort of bizarre tone. It has plenty of wacky, offbeat comedy, and a bunch of characters who are actual children trying to work together to form an actual fighting force to get revenge and put Tokiyuki back on the throne, while also having frequent, incredibly jarring moments of just the realities of war and the brutality of the era. This feels like two different series that did a fusion dance together, and the matchup just doesn't quite makes sense, but it also kind of works. And that's kind of to be expected when you know that the series creator, Yutsue Matsui, was also the mangaka behind Assassination Classroom, another series that is just incredibly bizarre in tone. Either way though, it leads to a very compelling series, a series that I never quite know where it's going next. This is, again, based on actual history, so of course you could read a history book and maybe figure out where this is gonna go, but I also feel like this is not very historically accurate. And the series isn't really trying to be historically accurate or making you believe that it's one-to-one, because again, Yorishige Suwa does kind of have magical powers, and also his head does in-universe actually glow. The series is not trying to be historically faithful in any way, shape, or form, mainly taking historical characters and telling an interesting story loosely based on that history, which I think is fun. One of the key aspects that really makes this anime work though is that this is an incredible adaptation by Cloverworks. This summer season has plenty of anime that has top-notch, insane animation, or beautiful, wonderful, inspired direction. Between Wistoria, Machine, Shoshimin, and Elusive Samurai, you have some incredible series that are really doing a lot with cinematic direction and insane animation quality, and just doing a lot that I'm surprised is able to be accomplished in a weekly anime series. Elusive Samurai, though, I think takes the cake in some of the most satisfying animation that I've seen in a very long time. I have a very strong affinity towards any kind of running, jumping, parkour-like animation. I find a lot of thrill in that. I just think it's really cool to see characters run, jump, weave, and dodge through tight situations, and seeing how animators choose to convey that. I think one of the best series that did that was back when with Studios was at its height with Attack on Titan. They always killed it with those kind of scenes, especially with Levi. And if you like that, then this is that on crack. There is some insane displays of animation from episode 1 and continuing on to the most recent episodes that I've seen. I cannot sing the praises of this action animation high enough. To say it is inspired is an understatement. It is incredible. And while it's flashy and fun to watch, there is also an engaging story going on here with real stakes involved. Again, as I mentioned, as much as the tone shifts are incredibly odd because most of the series is fairly goofy and funny, and then there is these hard tone shifts into the brutality. While that can be difficult to maintain or to really understand being together, if you can get past the jarring nature of that, you will actually see a really intriguing story. And each episode, I'm just wondering how this story will play out. Thinking about how Tokiyuki will try to regain his throne, if he can even do that, if he even has a possibility against his very, 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 very steep odds against him. This is a series that's pretty hard to recommend to people. I think episode 1 probably is the best way that you're going to know if you're going to like this series. If you like the idea of the jarring first half of the episode meshing with the last half of the episode, if you can take goofy, over-the-top, ridiculous characters meshed with some real dark situations, then I think you should give this a shot. This is incredibly well animated, and I think there is a lot that can be offered here. I'm not gonna say it's the best series. I do think that there is a lot of tropey types of comedy that I don't think fully land. And in the middle, there's a few episodes that I just kind of wasn't as interested in as I was with the beginning, as I am with the current arc. The past couple episodes at time of filming are thrilling. I really am engaged right now in this series, but there was a stretch of time in the middle where I was feeling a bit iffy on it, and you know, you have to be able to stick it through if you're going to experience the highs that there is, and there is some high highs, and I'm very intrigued to see where it goes from now. And if you're a nitpicker, you'll point out that there's a lot of uses of CG animation in there as well that can be just kind of weird mixed in there, because you have so many sequences of just beautiful multimedia type animation, and then you have this, and this is fine. You know, it's not the worst I've ever seen. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. It's passable, but it is a step down from what you expect with the actual like fully 2D animation. So again, those are just points I would bring up here just as counters to all the praise that I have, because as much as I do enjoy this series, I think this is going to be very divisive for a lot of people. I don't know if a lot of people will be able to stick through it, but I recommend giving it a shot. It's very strange. It's a very, very strange series, but it's interesting, and I think it's worth, you know, at least watching the first 10 episodes and seeing how you feel about it, and then discussing it with people. I think this is a great discussion anime. So, also this is a great anime to mind if you're looking for like make an AMV, because you could make some killer AMVs with all the running, jumping, and moving around. Especially if you go to like Chroma King, I feel like you could just do so much with this series. It's so beautiful, and I'm kind of hoping that more people watch it so that more people get into it and do that, because I want to see some crazy edits with this show. I think you could make some beautiful edits with it. Anyway, I just wanted to get that all out there, let you know my thoughts on this series, and we're going to be doing a few more videos on different anime from this season as well. Been taking a break from my writing on my Zoids video, which is going very well, but you know, it's taking a while. So I want to take a break here, go over some anime that I'm really hyped about, and you know, just hope you find something interesting from this video, something of value that you take away from it. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to see more videos like this. Like if you like the video, leave comments for your own thoughts, and I hope you have a great day, a great night, or whatever it is you're having, and stay rad.